Hello, BookTube. We're continuing my 2023 library tour, book by book, here in the little book room to start with. And as you can see, I'm up on a footstool, which is dangerous when you're 28 years old. And that is to get at this top shelf of this bookcase. But I thought of an innovation to decrease this risk as much as possible. And that is to do both top shelves. Right, we're going to move on to the next bookcase, and the next bookcase has books on the top shelf, same as this one does. So we're going to do both of them, especially since they're fairly easy to do. So it won't take forever, because the top shelf of this bookcase right here is half covered in these kinds of decorative notebooks that I, for some reason, collect but almost never use. And there's a stack of them here. So that's half the shelf. And then you're going to see the top shelf of the next bookcase is also easy to summarize. So let's just go through these on this bookcase and then move on to the next one. And then I won't need I don't think I'll need a step stool for the rest of the bookcase. This first one is an advanced copy from 2010 of David Slavitt's translation of La Vita Nuova by Dante. Never got a finished copy of this. Never seen a finished copy of this. I think I wrote about it back in 2010, but I never got any kind of follow-up from Harvard University Press, which is a little odd. They're usually better at that. Oh, okay. Then we have, this is a novel by Peter DeRosa. This is so good. I don't know if it's in print anymore. I have no idea. But this is his novel, Pope Patrick, in which an Irish priest suddenly, unexpectedly becomes Pope. And he is not part of the Vatican establishment, as you can see. He's a free thinker, an iconoclastic figure, a true Christian, whereas Peter DeRosa's clear implication is that most of the Vatican is not. And it is delightful. Oh my, it has so many great, great scenes in it. It doesn't belong here. A familiar refrain here in this library tour. It doesn't belong here. What I ought to do is have an entire bookcase devoted to contemporary fiction that has somehow managed to make it. I could even have an entire bookcase in this room, but where all the contemporary fiction is together instead of scattered all over the place. Right, Pompeii and A Much Younger Man and a couple of other things that we've seen just in this bookcase ought to all be together. Okay, then let's make sure we don't disturb the pile of decorative bookcases. This is by George Musser. This is Spooky Action at a Distance. A really good, I'm filling it with reviews here. This is a really good introduction to quantum mechanics, to the weird oddities of quantum mechanics. I'm going to put these things so that I'm running out of room here. Okay, then we have an old paperback. This is from, what do we got here? 1978. This is Audrey Williamson's book on the mystery of the princes. This was probably the last book, 1978. This was probably the last book to come out on this subject that was not called The Princes in the Tower. This is the story of the two heirs of King Edward who were in the Tower of London when Richard III took control of England. And they were never seen alive again. And the mystery is what happened to them and who's responsible. I mean, we know what happened to them, or do we? Were any of the pretenders in the reign of King Henry VII, were any of them actually the elder of the two princes or the younger of the two princes? But this is great. There are a handful of really good books on the subject, and this is one of them. Doesn't belong here. Absolutely does not belong here. It belongs in, I have a history shelf with 4 other books about the mystery of the princes in the tower. Okay, then we have one of these larger mass market paperbacks. This is a larger mass market paperback of Dune. Only I went out and got the movie cover, and I don't know what they'll do. I don't know what the Ace is going to do for the next Dune movie. Denis Villeneuve is going to make a follow-up to this movie, but it's going to be the rest of the story of this novel. I guess they'll just come out with it again, maybe with the poster for the second movie as a cover. I'll get it. No matter what they do, I'll get it. A gigantic, multi-million successful movie adaptation of Dune, not successful in terms of an adaptation, in my opinion, but successful at the box office. That's a treat. That's an amazing thing. So if they do a publicity run for the second movie and reprint Dune with all of the details there, I'll definitely get it. Absolutely. And then we have 3 hardcovers about murder mysteries. The first one is Howard Haycraft. This is The Art of the Mystery Story, full of nonfiction meditations on what it is that we're reading when we read mystery fiction. I love consulting stuff like that, especially in March Mystery Madness. Then The Poetics of Murder, very much along the same lines, where writers write about how the mechanics of murder mysteries. And then, again, the same thing, The Mystery Story. This is hard. I have a paperback of this thing that's really too flimsy to use, but I found a hardcover. So my mystery reference library, I think I have 2 other books that really ought to be up here, or at least they all ought to be together, on the craft of the mystery story. I really love reading about that sort of thing. I just realized you can see Bigfoot over my shoulder there and lurking on that top shelf. And then we have the top shelf of the next bookcase. And the reason why it is easy to do is because it's all one author. It's all Patrick O'Brian. Hardcovers with these American illustrations of the Aubrey and Maturin novels. I have all of them except for Treason's Harbor, I believe, is the one that I don't have. Is that right? Yes, I don't have Treason's Harbor in hardcover. In that edition, I don't have Treason's Harbor. It's the only one that I don't have of Patrick O'Brian. But in addition to these, I also have this thing on this shelf. This whole shelf, that whole shelf is just the individual novels of Patrick O'Brian. But then I also have this, which is a critical appreciations and a bibliography of Patrick O'Brian. And this is a terrific little volume. I was very envious of Mark Richardson. Mark Richardson and I went to the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut. We had an epic road trip on a very hot day with the Bean. And in one of the annexes, one of the side buildings of the Book Barn, he found a copy of that for himself, and I was envious, and I told myself what I always do tell myself. I told myself the Brattle will provide, but with a specialty thing like that, I wasn't 100% sure the Brattle will provide, but probably not quickly. But the Brattle did provide, and fairly quickly, which is. That was wonderful. So there you go. That is, I'll be very delicate here. That is those top 2 shelves. A relatively small, relatively short video because, for Patrick O'Brian, I would just be showing you the individual books. That's all. It's not any different. It's just one author. And then this top shelf, half of it is wasted space. I'm perfectly willing to admit it's wasted space. Those decorative notebooks belong in a storage closet or a cabinet somewhere. They don't belong on a bookshelf. Nothing decorative belongs on a bookshelf, except only books belong on bookshelves. So I really need to, unless, like for instance, Bigfoot behind me here, unless the bookshelf in question is way too high up off the ground, in which case, better to put something decorative on there. So that's it. A nice quick thing to get me off this footstool, and then I will just reach up out of the shot for the next bookcase, all of which I think I can do without a footstool, and we'll be right back to normal. We'll be right back to dealing with footstools again, but we have a week. So I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.